What's good, everybody? This is Ace. I'm here with my partner Mark, and we are about that sports life. You know what we come to do? We come to talk sports. We're gonna jump into it. We got some NFL. We're gonna talk about um, early training camp, OTA starting up. Still some controversy there, so we'll get into that, and then we're gonna talk NBA. Playoffs in full swing right now. A lot of really great series. A lot of stories going on, so we're gonna get into all that. But before we do, what's good, brother?
No, I'm good, man. Just chilling, enjoying
Yeah,
this weather finally turning. Like we ain't getting no spring this year. Went straight winter to summer, but I
yeah,
like
right,
it. Spring
right.
just said
Well,
not this year.
yeah, it took a break this year. Like, man, listen, y'all get this summer y'all been waiting for.
Yeah, everybody, the world coming back, so
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah, and
thing too.
I've been outside, man. I see that people they skip the spring. It's summertime. They say forget it.
Yep. Memorial Day weekend is coming. That's the official
Yeah,
start of summer anyway, unofficial.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's about that
and
time.
it's a little different that we are so early in the NBA playoffs. Usually around this time, we're almost near the finals.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't even like think about the actual calendar timeline, but yeah, this is normally almost finals. Whittling down. Finals usually
Mm.
in June though, so
Yeah, this is this
almost
time of year we almost going into the finals. Yep.
Yeah, it's like conference finals time right now. Um, I like that T. I know, like that one must be hot off the presses. You got
Oh
you
yeah,
got you
man.
got you got
We got
Jalen. You got Devonta. You got the
we got we got to represent the
you got
new
the
blood, the new Eagles. You know, out with the old and with the new. They
yeah. Now
I saw it.
that's clear.
I think I seen it day or two after he got drafted. It's from a Devonta Smith website. So
Okay,
yeah, I liked it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna support. It's only like
yeah, that's
$20
clean. I like
anyway.
that.
Going back to the
Uh,
NBA jams. Remember that? That was one of my
yeah,
favorite
yeah,
games.
exactly. That's why I said that. That's clean. I thought it was an old shirt I was like, who that? Who that? McNabb. I read. I was like, oh, that's hurt.
Yeah. Hey, nah, that would be a good one if they had McNabb and T.O. or McNabb and Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was at first. But
Nah.
now that's just fun. Speaking of newness in the NFL. You have rookie mini camp, and OTAs over the last couple weeks. So everybody getting their rookies in there. I'm sure Devontae Smith was in there, working out with y'all. I know I saw Micah. I got to finally really get to lay eyes on him. He didn't play last year, so in
Mm-hmm.
college, so I didn't really pay much attention the year before. I know you did, being a Penn State fan, but it was good to
Oh
see
yeah.
him out there. Um, Saw him. The two guys I'm most excited, or three really, as far as our rookies, I'm excited about Parsons, of course, Jabril Cox, and the corner, Kelvin Joseph. We really need him to pan out. I think they kind of understating how important it is that he pans out. Um, Even more so than Micah Parsons and
Yeah.
Jabril Cox.
Yeah, because
He has to.
I can understand wanting to upgrade the linebacker position, and Cox is such a steal where y'all got him. But corner in the secondary was y'all number one issue. So Joseph
Yeah,
has to be real. And, we spoke about him before. I always was higher on Kelvin Joseph than some others. So wasn't too thrilled to see him go to the Cowboys. But he does fit today's NFL with the size and the physicality that you need to deal with the bigger receivers, the Julios, the AJ Browns, two guys that with what's going on now may end up being teammates.
yeah, we're and it's crazy because like I look at those guys, I look at Diggs, I look at Joseph, and I'm like, they're gonna get tested early. Like
Mm-hmm.
first preseason game, you're going against the Steelers, so you got Juju, you got Claypool,
Mm-hmm.
Deontay Johnson. Then
Mm-hmm.
first regular season game, you know what's going on. You
Oh,
got the
y'all got the
Bucks.
big text,
Yeah,
the
so
testing
we
test.
we're gonna see early on how real they are. I don't think, like I said, we need him to work out. Hey, like that one, we don't have a backup plan. We don't have a plan B for him. We don't have a plan B at corner. He has
Yeah,
to
not
work.
not in his first year, and I know corner is kind of one of the hardest positions for rookies to transition into. So that's why it's good that this year mini camp and OTAs and all of that is back. Because I really
Need it.
think that affected a lot of players, young players, rookies, of course, last season, and even some veteran players. I think not having that regular off season
Yeah.
caused uh, a lot of other things to fall in motion for how they did with last season.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I, even with how bad we had last season, with that going down and with the defense playing the way it played, I didn't really, I wasn't as critical because I feel like our defense,
Hmm.
especially, was one we had a new D coordinator with no training camp, and it was just kind of hodgepodge. It never looked like they knew it until very very late in the season. There was a couple games where they looked decent, where they looked like they were starting to kind of get it together. So I kind of like I'll give them a pass. This year we need some improvement. No passes. That's why I said even the rookies, we need y'all to hit the ground running with this mini camp with training camp because we don't have no more time for passes. Like, it's time to go. Like, the
Especially in
offense
a
ain't gonna be like
division,
this forever.
yeah, especially in a division like the NFC East where it's totally up for grabs. I mean,
Yeah,
there's no juggernaut team that you just go into the season talking about, oh, they're in control. You know what I mean? We don't have that right now. And even when you have had stronger teams in the NFC East, it flip flops every year anyway. You know what I mean? There's been plenty of
yeah,
seasons where the team that was in last place goes and wins the division. You know what I mean? Or the team that was in first place goes to last place. Like, so having your guys click from the beginning is even more important in a division like the NFCs because it's going to be so close down to the end. And
yeah, all the time. No matter how one team starts out really, really good, and you think that team's gonna run away with it, and then the one team starts out really, really bad, you think, oh well, they out of it. It usually ends up at the end of the season, at least two teams, if not three teams, battling out one
mm-hmm.
team to win the division, almost same record. So that's to be expected. But just kind of going around the league, some of the it's been some talk, ongoing. Of course, Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, that's been ongoing. He finally got on a national platform and kind of talked about what's going on from his own mouth. And we kind of heard that, his problem, like he said, like we pretty much figured was with the front office.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of clarified things as far as it's not a personal problem with Jordan Love, which most people didn't think, but that was kind of a narrative that was out there. It's more with the philosophy of the front office and how they're moving, how they're doing things, which, like I said, to me, I agree with because I'm like, if I'm your franchise quarterback, I have to have some type of say in what's going on, especially when it involves me. I don't think that you can have and quarterback is unique in that way. There's no other position in football that necessarily has to get a say in what goes on, even
Oh
as it
yeah.
pertains to them. But
Mm-hmm.
quarterback is different. It just is.
Especially when you're a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like Aaron Rodgers is not just a regular quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a type of guy that no matter what's around him, he's going to make his team a contender. Like the Packers are forever in the mix because of him. You know what I mean? So you need to make sure that guy is on the same page with all the moves you're trying to make. And like I I never seen an issue with the Love pick, right? I understood that because they're just trying to set up their next part of their franchise. Like Aaron Rodgers is not forever. But like he was saying himself, it was more about why not come to me? Why not say this is what we're doing? Right. And then also people leave out that he does not like people say about, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. He got plenty of money, blah, blah, blah. He has money, but his contract's not guaranteed. I mean, he does not have guaranteed money left in that contract. So if I'm a franchise player, I put my body on the line for y'all for the last 16 years, and then I see you go draft a quarterback. You didn't say anything to me. You're not adding other weapons to help me win. Why would I feel any type of connection or any type of loyalty to you guys because you're not showing me the same loyalty on the other end. So the Packers have put themselves in a situation where their future in this season hinges on whatever Aaron Rodgers does. Aaron Rodgers really is like, F it, I'm not coming back. And he sits out or he retires just to get out of there, like a Carson Palmer situation. The Packers are in deep trouble. Jordan Love may end up being a good quarterback. it won't be year one. He will not have them where Aaron Rodgers would have them year one.
And that's part and parcel of what I've been saying all along. They've created an issue that they have to fix. And at the end of the day, it's not about Jordan Love and whether he's going to be good or whether they even at this point whether they should have picked Jordan Love. It's more so about what they haven't done. It's not about what they did. It's what they haven't done. What they haven't done is make Aaron Rodgers feel like he's a part of that team's future in any real way.
Mm-hmm.
In no real way have they, like you said, he doesn't have guaranteed money, so they haven't extended his contract and added any money. So, two, they haven't added any weapons. They haven't committed to his offense, Aaron Rodgers' offense, right now. They haven't committed to that. And then three, they are showing that they're willing and planning to move on from him at some point, which is fine. They should. But that's a conversation. Look, Aaron, and it's not even a deep conversation, to be honest. I don't think so. I think it's more, look, Aaron, we've been riding for a minute. You're getting older. We want to make sure that we're secure. So we're gonna draft, a guy to come along under you. Is that cool? And then, and I think also I feel like the courtesy is if they're going to trade up and take a quarterback in the first round, that's an extra conversation right there. That's not the first conversation. That's the second conversation. That's look, we got a guy we really like in the first round. I know, we want to improve the offense. We're going to improve the offense and reassure that guy. At least let him know, but this is what we're going to do now. And I'm not saying you have to ask him to do it, but let him know that you're doing it. There's two different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. You don't have to get permission because he does not own the team. But
Yeah, it's not,
speaking
but
on it is something that should have happened. And then also, I'll say this, even if they didn't speak on it, right? But at the same time, they still went and made sure they did moves to make them still a contending team, to add extra pieces to still be trying to win with Aaron Rodgers. I think it kind of would have went a little different even in that way. But they didn't. They drafted Love and they did not go and add extra offensive pieces to
not
their
at all.
team at all, 2 years in a row, right?
And my thing and the other things that he highlighted and they talked about firing his quarterback coach, fire and releasing receivers that he actually had a connection with and like you would think that it's like, oh, that's just business, but at the same time, that's all at his expense.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things affect him, and none of the and if you let him tell it, none of those were there was no conversation, there was no back and forth about that. That was just they just made those moves of their own volition and just moved on with that. That's it. Like I said, to me, this is a problem that they caused and they have to fix. And I really don't see a good fix unless they can go out there and get the next guy we're going to talk about. They can get Julio.
Yep.
Now, uh, more recently, it's been talk about the Falcons trading Julio Jones, arguably still, if not the best receiver, definitely top five. Um, and he there was the show Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, Undisputed, live on the air. He
Mm-hmm.
calls Julio on speakerphone, and he's talking to him, and he brings it up. Says, I saw you in a picture with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if everybody's seen that. I didn't make a lot of that, but whatever. Um, what's up? And then Julio, very blunt, very direct, which I like. I respect. He said, "No, I'm out of there. It's over. It's over for that."
Oh yeah,
Pretty much.
he's making it very clear. Like Aaron Rodgers may be tiptoeing the line. Julio Jones
Yeah,
is like he
very
set the
clear.
line. I'm not going back. It's a wrap for Atlanta. Julio Jones, because even I remember we spoke on this before. I was a little surprised that there were rumors of them trading Julio Jones. I know people say, "Oh, it's a cap thing. It's a cap thing," and I kind of couldn't get like I don't know if it's a cap thing. And it comes out that it's more of a he said he wants out thing. And now I fully understand. I'm like, okay, he said he wanted out. They're trying to clean it up and say it's a cap thing because it doesn't make them look as bad. But what the Falcons have to do now, like it also makes the Pitts pick make more sense. Like they're now moving on to a next set of weapons, and that's cool. Now it's about figuring out where does he end up. Julio Jones, like you said, if he's not, I don't still have him as the best receiver, but like you said, there's no doubt about it. He's top five. No questions about it. Where he ends up is an important piece. If he ends up on a contending team, that could be the piece that pushes him over. If he goes to the Patriots with Cam, that's a different situation now with Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. Aguilar, they signed this offseason. They have some of their players coming back that opted out last year. That would bring the Patriots right back with the Bills. Then, like we said, Green Bay could clean all their ills by going and landing Julio Jones. Julio Jones, Devontae Adams, with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback and Aaron Jones in the backfield. Whoa, that's
Yeah.
that's that's real. Like
Hey,
at
I put
that
it to you
point,
like
if
this.
Aaron Rodgers did not want to play there anymore, we would start to look at him
Yeah, yeah.
crazy.
And I think that that would be too tantalizing for him to pass up. If they were to get a Julio Jones, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, he has at this point more career behind him than in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Is he at the end of the road? I don't believe so. Not from especially not how he played last year. But he's not playing more years in the league than he already played. So to get a Julio Jones, that's going to give him his best opportunity at a championship. He's not going to get a better opportunity anywhere else he goes in the league
Mm-hmm.
than right there where he is. So I think if the Packers want to continue, we'll see exactly how much the Packers view Aaron Rodgers as their franchise quarterback going forward in the next week or two.
Yeah, like I said, if I was Green Bay, this would be done already. Being honest with you, I would have already figured out the compensation and got that deal done because that cleans everything up. You have no more issues with Aaron Rodgers. You give him another guy. You have him and Devontae together to make the run right now. Yes, Julio and Aaron Rodgers are, like you said, closer to the end than to the beginning, but it does not matter. If you have a dynamic duo like that at receiver with that quarterback, you are in the window to win a championship. You were just in the NFC Championship game, and you were right in the game. Tampa didn't blow them out. Shoot, they had the ball and a chance to win the game at the end. So adding Julio Jones, I'm not going to say it makes the Packers the automatic favorite
It
because
puts him
Tampa
right
Bay,
there with anybody.
yeah, because
Puts him
Tampa
there
Bay
with
is very
anybody.
good, but it puts them right on that and it cleans up all the drama they've had going on for the past year or so now. I don't see how Green Bay doesn't get it done. But if they don't, the other team that I think should be on the phone trying to make it happen is Baltimore. Lamar,
Yeah.
yes they drafted Rashad Bateman, and he has a lot of upside. Good move. Yes, they either signed Sammy Watkins and they have young Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown. None of them are Julio Jones. You put Julio Jones with Lamar Jackson, with Hollywood on the other side. You let Bateman play in the slot early on. Mark Andrews is at tight end. J.K. Dobbins is the young running back. And the dynamic, we already know what Lamar is. Now we get to see the Ravens step into another type of offense. You know what I mean? There's no more, you have to rely on the run game so much. Run game, Lamar making plays. Now you get to see Lamar potentially take that next jump as a passer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Baltimore could get on the track with the Chiefs, right? Or with Buffalo. Like
Yeah,
those are
they
the
get
two.
right in there.
Yeah, for me, is
But
the Ravens and the Packers are the two teams that I think should be trying the hardest to get Julio Jones.
well, my thing, the team that I'm hearing the most noise from, and I'm not necessarily even saying rumor wise, I'm just talking directly from them. Their players,
Titans.
it's Tennessee Titans. Like
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry openly recruiting them, AJ Brown openly recruiting them. AJ Brown said, like, what receiver you ever heard say, "I'm willingly willing to take the back seat. It's your show." I'm
It's
like,
Julio
yeah,
Jones, yeah.
yeah.
He knows because AJ Brown is a type of guy when we look at him, we kind of see a young Julio Jones. Like AJ Brown is that type of receiver. He
I
has the
love.
size.
He's one of my favorite receivers to watch in the league.
Absolutely. Same,
Like,
same.
they're
And I'm gonna
playing
say
great.
this. I'm gonna say this is very selfish talking. I don't want him anywhere near Tennessee because I have AJ Brown as one of my keepers in a franchise fantasy league, and I need him. I need AJ Brown to be wide
Knows
receiver
that.
one. Yeah, so I don't
Knows
want
that.
Julio there solely for those purposes, but for football purposes, that would help them take another leap. Also, AJ
Yeah.
Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. Like they lost Jonnu Smith, so they have room for another. They lost Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis. So
Yeah.
it's not like
Yeah, they got
they
a spot
have the
for him.
targets. They have the targets.
Yeah.
AJ
They
Brown
don't even
could
have to
still have a
change much. Yeah, they're not. Yeah,
AJ
exactly.
Brown
They don't.
could still have a monster season with Julio
Yeah.
there. Like we've seen
We
Calvin
saw
Ridley
exactly.
still
I'm
be
about to say we
big
see them
time with
share the rock.
Julio on the team. So Tennessee, I don't bring them up and that's solely for my own purposes. But yes, Tennessee's players have recruited them. Um, and if they got him, I think it's the same type of effect that the Ravens would have, as they would be able to be more of a passing team. They don't have to lean on Derrick Henry so much in the run game. And it would also put them right there with Kansas City and Buffalo. So they would be interested to see who lands him. We know they're not going to trade him to no one in the NFC South. And I think they probably would prefer not to trade him in the NFC
Yeah,
at
I
all.
think he's going to AFC.
Yeah, so that gives
But
the Ravens and
unless
the
it's the Packers,
Titans.
but that's what if you're the Packers, you got to step up with a Godfather offense.
Exactly. You have to
You
eliminate
got
that.
Yeah, you got to just step up with something like, but you want what you want. Number one, what you want at number one, and what? Like, what do you want? Like, you ask them what they want, and then you got to be willing to pony it up because I feel like you're talking about a championship level, tilting the. I've watched Julio Jones be the best player in a Super Bowl before.
Just didn't win it
I've,
because his
I,
coach
I,
blew it.
I, yeah, I watched him be the best player in the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl. Like we know he's that type of player. So you do what you got to do to get that on your team, and to pair him with
Speaking,
Aaron Rodgers of all quarterbacks.
absolutely. Speaking of that coach, well, he was offensive coordinator at the time. We know there's rumors that San Francisco is very involved also. They would try to, they're going to try to get in the talks for Julio because Kyle Shanahan has such a great uh, relationship
Rapport.
with Julio Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Rapport already, that's the word I was looking for, rapport. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Already with Julio Jones. But when you listen to Julio talk, like you said, with Shannon Sharp, he's kind of looking for that team that he can go and be placed in there and they're ready to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know San Fran has a dynamic defense. I know they have some solid parts on offense. They have a good offensive line, but there's questions at quarterback. Garoppolo's always injured, and Trey Lance is a rookie. So I don't know if that's the situation Julio would want to go to. And I feel like Atlanta has no ill will for Julio, so they're going to probably send him where he wants to go, or at least he's going to get to talk to them before they make a deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they said that originally the Falcons had taken calls in March about it, but they wanted a first round pick at that time, and no one was willing to give that up, which I understand why no one was willing because Julio is 32. He is coming off a season where he was banged up some, and he has a lot of money left on his contract. So I understand why the first was not given right then and there. But now that we're past the draft, that kind of changes things with compensation, right? We're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about a draft a month away anymore. We're talking about a whole season away, so you don't know where that pick is going to land. If I'm the Packers, right, we're going to keep going back to them because that's the team I think they getting Julio fixes so many things.
Yeah.
I would back up and I would give that first round pick now
I mean,
because it's a year away. And if you win the Super Bowl, it's the 32nd pick.
that's what I'm saying. You give them what they want because it doesn't mean as much to
It
you
doesn't
as it
mean
is
as much.
to
It's a
them.
round two pick anyway, basically, right? Like, yes, you lose the 5th-year option. I know a lot of teams are very value that, but if you're getting Julio Jones added with Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, that's a
AJ
3-year
Green, I
window
think
where you could
those
easily
two
win
running
two.
backs are crazy.
That's a 3-year window where you could easily win two. So
Yeah.
who cares what happens with the pick that you lost?
And like, not only would, and to me, it would just be so like two players that are disgruntled. You put them together, and possibly they have, the season that they could have. Like it would just be perfect. It would just make perfect sense, which is why it most likely won't happen.
Won't happen. Exactly.
It makes too much sense. He'll end up in a team that we're not even thinking about right now. He'll end up there, and I mean, I
And
just really hope
I
for
think that
Julio's
team's the
sake.
Patriots. I think we're
Yeah,
not talking about him, but it's a very Belichick type of move.
yeah. For
That's a
Julio's sake,
Belichick move.
I want him on a contender because I feel like he deserves that. Um, but he's so good that he can make a team like the Patriots a contender.
Exactly. Because they do have parts there. And I do think put Julio, like, I know Cam had a bad end of his season, But if we be real and we step back and we remember, he started the season very well. You know what I mean? Like he looked like it was going to be a nice fit there in New
Then he
England.
had
And that's
COVID.
the COVID. I was going to say that COVID is
Like,
really what
what the
spun it. And it wasn't all him why they started to spun out. They had injuries and they had so many players opt out. You know what I mean? So we really don't know what the Patriots are. They made a lot of acquisitions this offseason. They still have the coaching staff in tow. Cam is still, no, he's not MVP Cam, but if he's Cam of the first half of last season, along with Julio Jones and Jonnu Smith and Hunter
And
Henry,
he
and
got somebody to throw it to?
yes, and a serious serious defense because the Hightower's coming back, McCourty's there, Chung's coming back, Gilmore is still there. Like the Patriots would be right back in it if they got Julio.
Yeah. No, that's the team that will probably, like, I could see them getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the teams we talked about, I could see them actually getting it done. Now, like I said, I think Tennessee would do it. It just depends on what
What they got to give up.
yeah, what they have to give up. Because
I don't
I can
think they
see
will give up the one.
Tennessee. Yeah, I see Tennessee giving up the least of all these teams because
Mm-hmm.
they don't really need to get a Julio.
Mm-hmm. And
Because
their core is younger also, where
yeah, they could
with the
develop a
rest
guy
of
still.
rest of what we talk about, we're talking about an older Aaron Rodgers. Cam even at this point is older, and then with the Titans and with Baltimore, adding Julio would be nice. It would be amazing, but it is still a luxury. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's kind of one of those things that if it works out perfectly, they'll do it, but they're not going to win a bidding war.
yeah, exactly.
June 1st is
Also,
almost here, and that's when we're going to see this stuff happen. Because if people that don't know, June 1st is an important date in the NFL. That's when the reserves come off of players that are free agents that were released or that's going to be traded. So teams are going to have a lot of money open up. And I remember Jason Lockett-Ford tried to bring up the Eagles as a target because we have a lot of money clearing up because of cutting out Sean Jeffrey and Malik Jackson. Their money comes off June 1st. But the Eagles aren't a contender right now. So I don't even know why he brought this up. But there's I only said it because there are other teams in those same situations that have money ready to come alive, and that's when we're gonna see a move for like Julio come about.
yeah. And it's something that we'll revisit. We'll talk about when it does go down, of course.
I think we're gonna see two other bigger name guys moved after that too, Zach Ertz and Stephon Gilmore. There's not been. Remember, Gilmore is always. There has been talk that the Patriots would move him. So to add to Julio, I think those three guys are going to all see move pretty soon after June 1st.
Let me ask you a question. And this isn't something I had planned on talking about, but we kind of stumbled into it. With Stephon Gilmore, like you said, him, possibly looking at being moved. A guy I always think about is Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman still being available.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he had an injury last year, but before that, he was pretty good still. Like, I'm like, do you get the sense that Richard Sherman is cooked? Like, it's over for him, or you think that he ends up on a team?
No, I think it's what we were just talking about. It's a cap thing. He's not going to take a dollar deal like Eagles just signed Ryan Kerrigan for only 1.3 was guaranteed. He can get to like 3.6, but Richard Sherman is not going to sign for a deal like that. So he has to wait for teams' cap space to open back up. So I just think that's all that he's waiting for with him. And then once that happens, you'll see him sign with someone. I actually think he's going to end back at the San Fran.
I was hoping. I wanted us to pick him up. I want us to pick him up.
That would be yeah. I mean, we need another corner too. I know most people are saying Eagles. Steven Nelson is kind of what they're looking at, but they're waiting for the money to free up too, because we need another corner also to be across from Slay. But those other free agents that are still out there, not all of them are still.
Casey Hayward's still out there too, right?
No, Raiders, Vegas, like 3 weeks ago, right after the draft.
I missed that.
Yeah, right after the draft, like day or two after the draft, he went to the Raiders. But yeah, those other bigger name guys, some of them are still around because they're not just going to accept anything type of deal. Kind of like Clowney last year, remember? Like Clowney waited till late to sign because it was a money thing, and he just wasn't going to take less money just to be on the team.
Yeah. All right. So let's switch gears, man. Let's get to the main event. I'm pretty sure you are, but watching it right now, you got
Yeah,
the
I'm watching the Heat get smacked up.
yeah, the Heat Bucks game 3. Um, Milwaukee's already up 2-0. Look like they're getting ready to go up 3-0.
Three
What,
zip.
what
It's a wrap.
what's your thoughts on the series, man? You think
Hey,
it's over?
yes, I think it's over now. Going into this series, man, I thought this was going to be the best first round series of them all. And I
Me too.
think that had a chance to happen if Miami would have closed out game one. When Miami lost game one, that was
Hmm.
it. You know what I mean? Because they shot lights out from three. They made 23s. Giannis collapsed down the stretch. You know what I mean? Like they were supposed to win that game. They went to Milwaukee. They threw the first punch. That was supposed to be the tone setter. And when they choked that game away, I feel like that took all the life out of them, and that gave the Bucks the energy they needed. And this
Yeah,
series is a wrap. It's probably going to be a sweep at this point because the Bucks are just playing on another
yeah.
level, and I
I
feel like
think that it gave
Miami
the
has given
Bucks.
up.
I think they gave the Bucks through the end of their bench a different type of confidence. Because
Mm-hmm.
like in game 2, we saw a guy like Bryn Forbes come in there and go crazy. Like
Crazy six
I,
threes.
if they lose game 1, there's no way he comes into game 2 shooting like that. It's no way, no way. So yeah, like you said, I think them losing game 1, it took something out of them, and it gave, especially I think to me, it gave Drew Holiday a different type of swagger, a different type of confidence. Because Drew Holiday, I think he believes that he's the difference maker on that team. Like people have
Mm,
been saying it, but I
mm.
feel like from the way he's playing now, I feel like he believes it now. I feel like he believes he's what they were missing and what put them over the top. Now, my question to you, I know you've been a doubter mainly because of the coaching, but does what they've done so far, what they're doing now, does that change your idea of them? As far as contender in the East.
Absolutely not, because they've never had an issue getting out the first round. It's the next
Very
round where
true.
my questions. They've had issues in that second round. Now I will say this: I am impressed by how they're beating Miami, but I'm not impressed by them beating Miami. You know what I mean? Like they are the 3 seed. They were supposed to win this series.
Hmm.
I am impressed that they're probably going to sweep the Heat because the Heat were coming on at the end of the season. And me as a Sixers fan, I'm going to be 100% real with you. I was ecstatic when they were not in the 4 or 5 seeds. I did not want to play them. They're a bad matchup for us for whatever reason. But for Milwaukee to handle them how they're handling them, I'm going to give them a little more respect for that. But I will not view them any differently until they prove to me they could get out of that second round and beat a true contender. Because
Yeah.
they have not done that yet under Mike Budenholzer.
No, that's legit. But to me, like I said, this team has a little bit of a different feel to it.
It does.
Um,
That's fair.
guys like Drew Holiday, PJ Tucker, Bobby Portis, just give them a different type of swagger, something they didn't
Tough.
have before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the toughness. They lacked that
yeah.
before.
And looking at that, I'm like, I don't know. They got Brooklyn next up, and that's no slight to my guys. I got, love my guys, but I see where this is going.
Yeah.
Um, they got, and I think that is that can go one or two ways. That because to be honest, I will say about Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has impressed me defensively.
I
It
was
seems
go
like they've
yeah,
been
I was
able to
waiting for us
just
to get
flip
to
a
them, but I
switch.
feel the same way.
Yeah. Now we'll circle back, but if this Bucks team could go against that Brooklyn team and do something similar, or try to find a way to you know take that team apart, because they're together right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, then that I would be impressed. So put it like this: any way, any shape, any way, anyhow, Milwaukee makes it out of the second round. I think we have to look at them a little different.
Oh, facts. No doubt about it. If they get past Brooklyn, there's no doubting anymore. They can win it all. That's the hurdle for them. And I'm saying that even as a Sixers fan, like, yeah, I'm not saying that they would definitely beat us in the Eastern Conference Finals. No,
But you got
but
to worry about it.
yeah, I am saying it's something to worry about. Because that would prove at that point they've gotten over that hump that was holding them back the last few years, and that the extra additions is what did it. Because there's not a change in Mike Budenholzer. No, he's still the same coach. they're pretty much still running the same type of system. Giannis is still not taking jump shots to open up the game. Their main parts are still the same. The difference is what you brought up. Is Drew Holiday. It's Bobby Portis coming off the bench and shooting like I've never seen him shoot before. PJ Tucker is giving them a toughness, and he tells these guys all the time, attack, attack, attack. He's the voice. He's that guy, kind of like Iguodala was for the Warriors. Like, yes, he's not the best player, but you need that motivator to be able to drive the engine. You know what I mean? Like, go back to if we remember with the Pistons, right? Back in, can't remember the year, 04, 05 ish. The best players were Rip, Chauncey, Rashid, but we know who the heart was, Ben Wallace. You know what I mean? Like, Ben Wallace was what made them the tough team that they were. And I feel like Tucker and Holiday kind of do that for the Bucks. And if they get past Brooklyn, it's going to be for those reasons. To speak about Brooklyn real quick, we both are fans of teams in the East, so we've been watching Brooklyn closely all season. And the defense was not just bad, it was putrid. It was sad. Like, they were not playing
Yeah, not at
competitive
all.
defense all season. Like, they're rated so low in the league that it would be a first if they reached the finals with where they ended in defensive net rating at the end of the season. All that's out the window. They have
Gone.
shown early in the first, been 2 games, 3 games now, right, for y'all?
2 games. We
Two
play them
games.
again on Friday.
They've shown that Durant, we already knew Durant was a high level defender. He's shown that he's playing that level of defense. Harden is playing more engaged on defense than I've ever seen him. And it just looks like they're trying to prove a point. You know what I mean? That, hey,
Yeah,
y'all talked all this stuff about our defense all season. It wasn't us, it was more of a trying thing. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
But no, and that's the thing. Because at the end of the day, they have good defensive players on that team. All they really need is effort. Because
Effort,
if you
yeah,
got
that's what I'm saying.
if you got that kid Nick Claxton, if you got him in the back and protecting the rim, all you really need to do is make sure your guy doesn't have a straight path. Because if you could slow him up, Claxton's going to rotate. He's going to be there. They have defensive play. They have all they really needed was the effort. But I really didn't believe that they could just flip the switch. I
Flip the
was wrong.
switch. Exactly. That's the part. It's about flipping the switch. They did something. But I'm going to say, no disrespect to the Celtics, but this Celtics team they're playing right now is not the level of competition that they're going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
play
for sure.
coming up. They lost
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, and that's a big loss. Kemba is playing solid ball, but he's not looking like the Kemba Walker we know. Tatum cannot beat all of them by himself. You know what I mean? And then Boston all season has been lacking a true front court presence. You know what I mean? Like, those are things that they're gonna have to still prove coming forward. So yes, I'm giving them their respect, and I am impressed by how they've been able to kind of flip a switch. But at the same time, it has to be proven against a true contender
Yeah.
like the Bucks for us to really be like, dang,
Yeah, that's
that's
why I said
impressive.
that next round, to be honest, the Sixers, who we pretty much know is going to come out of the first round,
Mhm.
um, and then they're looking at Knicks
Hawks or Knicks.
or Hawks or Knicks in the second round. So definitely the lesser of the matchups.
That's why the 1 seed was so important.
Yeah, I think they really have to be very mindful of how they approach the conference finals if and when they get there, because depending on which team they play, if they play a Milwaukee Bucks team that was able to step up offensively, because I think that's where they would need to step up offensively to beat Brooklyn. That's a dangerous team. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're able to play a Brooklyn team that's able to step up defensively to stop the Hawks, then that's even more. To me, that's an apex predator, because no way in the world should that collection of players be able to play solid defense. We didn't think they would. Then when
Mm-hmm.
they got on the floor, they didn't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're somehow able to do it in the playoffs, that's a very, very extremely dangerous team. That's a Warriors with Durant level threat. Like, you have to worry about that, because
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that was the thing about the Warriors.
If
That was
Brooklyn
the thing
plays
about the
elite
Warriors.
defense, that's exactly what they are. They are the Warriors again. Because the Warriors play big time defense. If
Yeah, that was
Brooklyn can
always
get to
the
there,
team.
that's what they are. I'm going to say this. as a Sixers fan, I still prefer Brooklyn. I mean, like, I know Milwaukee, I talk about their flaws and all of that, but I still prefer to play Brooklyn than Milwaukee. One, because I want the point to be proven that we're the best of the best, and we know you got to play Brooklyn to get that. But also because, like you said, they have to prove that they can play elite defense, and even you doing that against the Bucks does not mean you could do it against Joel Embiid. You know what I mean? Like the
No,
Bucks
very
don't
true.
have
Very
Embiid
true.
either. like that's
Very
the
true.
difference. Like that's the one thing they cannot prove at all until they play him. You know what I mean? Like they have no there's no test coming. Like Brook Lopez is not
Yeah.
Joel
Nah.
Embiid.
They don't. But
Boston
there's not.
doesn't have a front
Yeah, there's
court.
not that
But
in the East. There's not that in the East at
and
all.
exactly.
So
Now we're gonna see like the East. We've known all year it's a 3-team race, and all three teams are very good. And whatever two of those three play each other in the Eastern Conference Final, it's gonna be a war. Like it's going to be a battle, and that's why I kind of feel like whoever wins that is kind of the favorite for the finals because I don't think the team that comes out the West will have the same
not gonna be his test.
battle. You know
Yeah.
exactly like maybe the Lakers because Phoenix is a good team, and then if they win this, they got to go on and play probably Portland or Denver, um, and then you would have to play the one seat, maybe Utah or Dallas, because we're going to talk about the Clippers and their fraud asses. But maybe, but that's still not the same test of having to. Let's just say it is Brooklyn. If Brooklyn's able to get through Milwaukee and then the Sixers, that's big time. You know what I mean? And like you're coming into the finals so confident in yourself getting through that you're gonna feel like, yo, I'm not worried about this team. We're on a mission. We already proved getting through those two monsters that we're the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The team that come out the East to me has a decided. As long as they come out healthy, have a decided
All right,
advantage of the team
health
that
is
comes out
always
the
the one.
West. That because going through that type of a gauntlet, you never know what can happen. But I do think that the team coming out the East has a decided advantage over the team coming out the West. Just looking at these series, just watching these series, I'm like, yeah, the East is a problem because even like all right, so Brooklyn blew us out in game 2, but game 1 that was a battle. They
That was
won
a
by a
fight.
lot of the game, but that was a battle. And I
Mm-hmm.
I believe game 3 we're gonna give them. It's gonna be the best shot that we possibly can give them. Tatum got poked in the eye. Tatum's playing. Robert Williams shouldn't even be playing right now. Not only is he playing, he's playing well. Like I have no problems with the guys that are out there that are playing. To me, they're doing what they can. We're doing what we can. Like when I watch the game, I'm like, I can't really even critique this right because guys are in positions they shouldn't be in. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I say that to say like Brooklyn's gonna have to go through some stuff to get to the conference finals. Philly, y'all gonna have to go through some stuff at the end of the day to get to the finals. Like
To get
y'all
to the
gonna have to
finals,
go
yeah.
through it.
And
Milwaukee,
that's why, as I say, I was so stuck during the season on the Sixers getting the 1 seed because it is a different road. No, I'm not disrespecting the Hawks or the Knicks when I say this, but that's not a test. You know what I mean? Like we've beaten the Knicks. Can't name the last time we lost to the Knicks. And then the Hawks are just too young. You know what I mean? Like that's a good series between the Knicks and the Hawks. Like it's a fun series to watch. The Hawks are
because
playing
Trey gonna
good
be able to still get
basketball.
off on y'all, but that's about it.
Yeah. Like the Hawks are playing good ball. The Knicks had fought back yesterday. That was a great comeback from them. Derrick Rose is playing on the highest level we've seen him play in a long time. It's a fun series to watch, but we know that that's the end of the road for the team that comes out of there. They're not beating the Sixers. But coming from that 2 and that 3, man, it's a battle to get to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 2 and the 3 seed in the East. But let's transition to the West real quick, and we
Yeah,
got
I
to
want to
start
talk.
with. Uh,
Go ahead.
you
I know
finally
where you
going.
want to go.
Yeah,
I
we
know
got to
where you
start with the
want to go.
Clippers. What I
I
got?
knew I was gonna go Phoenix Lakers and then ease into it, but we can just go
Nah,
straight to it.
nah, nah.
We can get
The
straight to it.
Clippers, if they lose, if the Clippers lose in the first round, it's one of the biggest failures in I've seen in
The only
forever. Like
It's
I
one
can't
word.
even
It's one
think of a
word.
bigger
It's
one.
one word. It's one word that you can use to describe it. Because it don't even matter if you was rooting for them or not. They're a disappointment. Because even if you
Without
were
doubt.
rooting against them, you wasn't rooting against them to go out like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
you
I
wasn't
wasn't rooting
expecting them.
against them. Yeah, I didn't.
But
I don't really have a care for the Clippers. But my point, they dodged. They did things to make sure they were going
yeah,
to play the Mavericks first. They ran from the smoke. They knew they didn't want to play the Lakers early on. They kind of felt like they didn't want to. What was it? The 3-6, the Blazers. I mean, yeah, to play the Blazers at a 6 seed. Like they did things to make sure they got this matchup. And Luka is busting that ass. Paul George, where are you? You talk all this, oh, they gonna see MVP PG this year. Then it's playoff P. You do a lot of jabbing of the lips. But when playoff time comes, where are you? Kawhi scored 40 the other day. And in game one, he wasn't the reason why. Like Paul George, you have to have some type of impact for that team to become what they thought they were gonna be. You know what I mean? They gave up Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, and enough draft picks to build your own team to get Paul George. And he honestly is why they lost last
and
year, and he's
yeah.
why they're losing now. They tried to blame it all on Doc Rivers, and we're seeing right now that he was the scapegoat and not the real problem. They cannot lose to the Mavericks.
But like my thing is,
Kawhi's gone if they lose.
how did they beat the Mavericks?
I don't
How?
know because
They just
I don't know.
lost twice on their floor. They lost
And
twice on their
I was
floor.
just going to say that, and they lost at home. They have nothing for Luka. They have nothing for Tim Hardaway Jr.
What makes no sense to me. They got the two
None.
best ring defenders in the league. How the
Mm-hmm.
hell? What is going on? And why is Kawhi not defending Luka? What is going on? Somebody explain to me what's
That's
going on.
why I said. That's why I called out Paul George, man. He is the catalyst of the issue. He is the catalyst of the issue. He's allowing Luka to go off, and he's really not giving them much on offense. But they also have some issues with roster construction. Where's the point guard on that team? They don't have a real point guard. You know what I mean? Patrick Beverly's not a point guard. You know what I mean? Like
Rondo should be playing the
Rondo,
bulk of the minutes. They need to
yeah,
stop. No. Okay. Game two. Game two was worse than game one. Patrick Beverly played 23 minutes. Rondo played 19 or 18. That needs to not only be flipped, but Rondo should be playing 25 to 30 minutes a game. Easy. They need him on the floor. They need him on the floor.
they need Rondo to be playoff Rondo. He's somebody that we can really give him that name because he's proven it before. But even that, though, I think you're putting too much on a guy who's 35 years old. I mean, they don't have a real point guard, a real floor general, and that's part of their problems. They also don't have a big. Ivan Zubac, I'm sorry, you're not good enough to deal with even Porzingis. Porzingis gave him 26 the other night.
Yeah.
They don't really have much coming off the bench. Like it's an incomplete roster. They went everything was Kawhi and PG, Kawhi and PG. Yes, that's a great tandem, but you don't win with two guys. You win with a team, and that's why Dallas is winning. Luka's giving them business. Tim Hardaway Jr. hitting from three. Jalen Brunson comes off the bench and gives them buckets. Porzingis didn't do nothing in game one, but had a good game too. What's my man? Dorian Finney-Smith plays good defense. That's a team. You know what I mean? Like you have to have a
Yeah.
team to win playoff basketball. And that's another part of the Clippers' issue is that they put so much in the two guys. And if those two guys are not going to play like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, it's like I said, it's already been a disappointment. Even if they somehow find a way to get out of this series, it's a disappointment. There's no way you're supposed to lose those first two games at home. You can't
Yeah,
start the playoffs like that, man.
only way it's not a disappointment is if they go to conference finals still.
Yeah, they have to still do what they have plans on doing. But at the
Yeah,
end of the day, nothing that they're showing me shows that that's in their
that's going to
future.
happen. Exactly. I'm sorry. I don't. If they are able to flip the switch and get out of this series, I don't see them beating that Utah team now that Mitchell's back. You know what I mean? Like Mitchell looked like he didn't skip a beat last year. Like you could
Nah,
not tell that he just missed
that's a
15
bad
games.
boy, man. That's a
Yeah,
bad boy, man. I
yeah.
like to me, Mitchell on the floor, just like obviously he's an all-star. So they were missing an all-star. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can just see his value, just him being back. Like when with him on the floor, they look like they could win an NBA championship last night.
Absolutely.
It looked like a team that could win an NBA championship when I seen that. That's the
Anybody that
difference.
doesn't think Utah could win is clearly just not watching.
Yeah,
Because
that
we
team
just
could win
talked
a
about it.
championship.
That's a team. You said the key word. That's a team. Mitchell is the catalyst. He takes them over the top, yes. But we saw while he was out for these last 20 games or so, they still held on to the 1 seed because of they have a squad. They still have Conley. Jordan Clarkson is the sixth man of the year. Joe Ingles is the runner-up for sixth man of the year. Rudy
Yeah.
Gobert is in the running for defensive player of the year. Bogdan Bogdanovic is a problem. You know what I mean? Like that's a squad. And then Quinn Snyder is a good coach. Like I don't see how the Clippers beat that team without home court advantage. You already didn't have home. You lost the home court advantage to the Mavs. So how are you going to go into Utah and beat that team? I just don't see how that happens at all. And that's why they're a disappointment. And Kawhi's gone. And at that point, what do you do?
But my thing is like Kawhi's gone, but where does Kawhi even go? Like, I
Miami.
mean, yeah, I'm sure anybody takes him, but I'm just saying, like, to
Yeah, some
me,
stain on his name after that.
yeah, it's not just gonna hurt the Clippers. It's gonna hurt Kawhi. It's gonna definitely hurt Paul George.
Mm,
You
kill
know,
Paul George.
I don't know if the Clippers can rebound from this, man. This is their second in a row failed contending team. They had this already before
And
with Chris
the
Paul,
first
and
time
Kevin
we
Durant.
kind of understood. The first time it was more injuries, and then the team broke up. This time, no. Like before, Chris Paul, unfortunately, he's hurt again. He can't stay healthy at the playoffs, and we know that, and it's sad because he's one of the best point guards of all time, right? And then they lost the whole. You know, they had Blake and DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, that was a good team, and we expected them to go further than they did. They didn't get to the conference finals at all, or any of that. But it was not the same as this team now. They
No, this is
put this
different.
team now together as if they were winning as soon as they stepped on the court. People were giving them the championship last year. They fell on their face against the Nuggets. People like, oh, don't worry about it. It's out of him now. It was Doc's fault. You know, Doc always blown a 3-1 lead. He didn't have Paul George in them in line, blah, blah, blah. All right, Doc's gone. You're down 0-2 to a team that going into this, people was picking y'all to easily get out of this. Like, how many people even thought that Dallas was going to give them a real run?
See, my thing about it is this. I mean, I
I
know
did, but
it's easier said, but Dallas is really still their team, but at the heart, it's a one man show. So you have to you gotta stop Luka. Y'all have to do something. It's playoff basketball. Y'all have to find a way to limit Luka. And I think if they can still find a way to do that, they can still beat this team and get out of here and try to get themselves together. But you got to
they
make
got
a
to win the
stand.
next two. Yeah, they got to win
But
the next two.
you got to make a stand at some point. You can't. They're not going to sit there and outscore the Mavs if they're
No,
going to play the game like series like that. So you got to make a stand. You got to stop these dudes. Like I'm watching the game and Luka's doing what he wants to do, and by Luka doing what he wants to do, their defense is just running around. They're not really defending anybody, and then you're getting open shots all over the court. Tim
all over.
Hardaway,
That's what I was going to say. Yep.
just everybody's getting open shots because they cannot stop Luka.
Luka.
Is the
Yep.
main reason.
Luka is definitely the straw that stirs the drink, and he's busting them like anything he wants to do, inside, outside, attacking the basket, backing dudes down and hit him with the Kobe shake fade away off the post up. He's doing whatever he wants from the start of the game to the end, and
Yeah, come on,
if they
coming off
don't
of
figure that out,
yeah,
they can lose in 5.
coming off of what was thought to be a down season for Luka. He didn't play the best this season, the regular season, and
Oh,
and
I don't know
and
about that. He's all NBA
yeah,
player still.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, all right. There was MVP talk before we started the season for
Okay,
Luka.
you're saying not.
So
Okay, I got what you mean. Like people
he
put an
didn't do what we thought.
expectation.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah,
He didn't do what I thought. Like from last season in the bubble, he looked like he was ready to take that next step.
the
He
next
didn't
elite. Yeah,
necessarily do that, and that's fine. He's still like you said, an All NBA player. No knock on him. I'm just saying all they're doing is giving him more confidence.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh
that's
yeah.
not a guy that needs more confidence.
Oh no. You might get them 50 game 3. They're going home. They lost these 2 games at home. That's what
Yeah,
makes it worse.
that's what makes it so damaging. That's what makes it so. How do you come back from that? How do you come back from you start and look? This is not the second round. This is not the conference finals. This is the first round. This is how you start in the playoffs. You start in the playoffs by losing the first 2 games at home by a nice little margin.
I was
It
about to
wasn't.
say that's what I was going to say, and they didn't it wasn't like these were close. They convincingly lost both games. Those are
Yeah,
convincing wins for
it's
Dallas in
close.
both games. Like I know the first game Dallas
Like
kind of pulled away at the
my
end, but
team, we're down 0-2 right now. But it would hit real different if it was 0-2 in Boston than being
yeah.
0-2. We was in Brooklyn. We were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to win those games.
Mm-hmm. Hey, even let's not to just go back to the East, but the Knicks and the Hawks. We view that series differently because the Knicks were able to even it up. You know what I mean? Like if the Knicks were going to Atlanta right now down 2-up, we'd kind of be like, yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
You
mean? But
can't go
they're
down.
not.
You can't go to their crib already down 0-2 to start the
Yeah,
like. Come on, and
yeah.
that's what the Clippers are doing. The Clippers are headed to
They're
Dallas
literally
down
the only
0-2.
team in the playoffs. Literally the only
Yeah,
home court team in the playoffs that are now leaving with that one home win. The Jazz are at 1-1, right? They slipped up game 1, but they got it back in game 2. Uh, Phoenix won game 1. I take that back. Who's the other one? Oh, Denver. That's what it is. Denver lost game 1. Portland came in
yeah.
there. They were able to get Dame was on fire. They were able to get game 1. They turned around. They got game 2. They even things up. The Knicks, they lose game 1 to Atlanta. Trae Young busts them up at the end, shuts the crowd up. Yeah, but game 2, they fight. They get that win. The Clippers are the only team
And that's
that have
that's
lost
that,
both games.
and that's what's the most disappointing to me. I don't see the urgency from them. I don't see them. Like I said,
They said it. Paul George said it himself. No worries. No worries. You're down 0-2.
if it's Luka that's the problem, put Kawhi on Luka. Just do what you got to do to get this win. That just means everybody else got to step up on offense. Do what you got to do. You have to stop that man. You
Got it.
cannot let that man just beat you and put you all out the play. You can't do that. Like if
Hey,
like you said, like you saying, if they do that, then Kawhi is gone and this is over. This whole thing is done.
it's over. It was a 2-year experiment that's going to go down as an epic fail. And I don't know, like you said, where do they go from here? You
To
don't
me,
have the picks.
no, the ramifications of this. No, seriously, this is me being serious. This is me putting my what's
GM,
I can't not even G. I'm
Nostradamus.
yeah, exactly. This is me putting my Nostradamus hat on. If the Clippers lose this series in the way it looks like they're gonna lose, not only will they lose Kawhi, Los Angeles could possibly lose this team. They talk of building an arena. The arena's not built yet, correct?
I don't know if it's built yet, but I think it's like concrete going to be built. Yeah. You're saying that he would take them because you're talking
I
about Seattle and Vegas are trying to get teams, right?
he Steve Ballmer always wanted to move the team to Seattle. When he bought the team, he wanted to. He couldn't. That was a condition of him buying the team is that he couldn't
Mm.
move. I could see this changing the course of a lot of things, and I could see this team being the team to move to Seattle because one of there's another team in the NBA that I've heard rumors already that are on the cusp of
Minnesota.
being moved. Minnesota. I've heard about that. The NBA would like nothing more than be able to move 2 teams to those 2 markets, Vegas, Seattle. You move Minnesota to Vegas, you move the Clippers to Seattle. You got the teams where you wanted all the markets. Like I said,
You don't think they want
this
to add a team though? I think the NBA wants to. I agree that now that you say it,
they can't add one. They have to add 2.
yeah, that too. You're right. So if you one move, 2 have to move, or they have to add 2, or none.
Or realign, or they have to do some realigning. But that's
Well, nah, because
listen,
it'll be 31 teams. No,
yeah, it'll be uneven either way. The Clippers are on a slippery slope. Let me just say it like that.
Los Angeles already don't care about them.
Yes, what I'm saying. They don't really want them there. If the Clippers can't deliver a championship, I'm sorry, nobody wants them in LA. if the Clippers can't deliver a chip, then nobody's really checking for them. So if they
Even if
can't
they
get out the
could, I don't
first
know if they're
round,
checking for him.
if they can't get out the first round, the ramifications to me could be very different, man. I just think it could get different. It could get very different.
Paul George, he was already pandemic P. He was already on shaky ice of losing his status of a big time NBA player. That ice gonna be shattered. They lose. There is no more talking to me about Paul George as a star. Our boy, you
Yeah,
know what I'm talking about. He want to call Book Devin. Oh, he better be calling somebody Paul.
yeah, yeah. Ain't no more PG. Ain't no
No
PG.
more. Like
He
let's
already
go.
lost.
Let's.
He was on the cusp. He was on the cusp of having one of the dopest nicknames to me in the NBA.
It
PG
was PG
13
13.
was fire. Was fire.
Mm-hmm.
He already lost at 13. 13 gone. That left in the
Yeah.
bubble.
Yeah.
13's gone.
And he
If
started off so well. Like those battles with LeBron when early in his career, we knew he wasn't going to win, but he fought LeBron. He balled. He gave Indiana a chance. And it's like ever since he got out of Indiana, he's been able to give you nothing in the playoffs. Him and Russ lost in the first round, and that's what blew that up.
yeah,
If you remember, it was him, Russ, and Melo. But you have that type of team, you cannot lose in the first round
not in the first.
without
And that's the thing.
ramifications.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
almost
why,
they both gone. But
yeah,
all three of them are gone.
yeah,
You they have to have some type of respect for themselves at the end of the day. You gotta step it up. You cannot let Luca do what he want to do and get y'all out of here. Because right now, it looks like they're going forward to me. I really don't see them catching a game if something doesn't change.
it's crazy. Let's talk about the rest of the series in the West. We're gonna see how the
Yeah.
Clippers respond. Personally, I think they are frauds, but I felt that way for a while. But we're gonna see how they finish it off. But let's go.
Let's go to we talked already a little bit about it, but let's talk Phoenix Lakers. Um, Now, Phoenix won game one. To me, I thought they won it pretty convincingly, even with Chris Paul getting hurt. They lost game two. AD, I think to me was the difference in game two.
Mm-hmm.
When AD is AD, the Lakers suddenly look like they could repeat as champions. But
Mm-hmm.
my problem with that is AD is not AD nearly enough. He's not. He doesn't play like that consistently enough for me. Um,
Well, that's during the regular season. Last year in the playoffs, he did. And I think right now, yeah, game one he was off. But I think we got to remember, AD is also coming off of an injury. He's still working himself back too. And with this series, I feel sorry for the Phoenix Suns because they had a great season. I really like that team. They should not be playing the Lakers in the first round. They're only playing them because of AD and LeBron's injuries that put the
mhm.
Lakers in this spot. And it's a shame. And now Chris Paul's banged up. Then it looks like Lakers are probably going to win that series. And that sucks because Phoenix had a great year and I like that team and they're growing. But like you said, when AD and LeBron are healthy and going, it's a different level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think yes, AD is what pushed them to win the last game, but LeBron closed it out. The way LeBron closed that game out, it's amazing
Oh
where
yeah.
LeBron has got his jumper to. LeBron used to be a below average to fraud 3-point shooter. Now the dude is
Pretty
serious
consistent.
threat.
Yeah, it's pretty
Like
consistent. Shooting the three. I wouldn't
this
leave him
series,
open anymore. I wouldn't leave him open.
yeah, no, this series is going to be a long, hard fought series. I don't see the Lakers just winning in 5 or 6. I think it goes 7, regardless. But I really, really wish Chris Paul was 100% healthy.
Yeah.
It sucks that that
To
shoulder
me, I
thing
think
happened
what
near the end of the
yeah,
game in game one.
and I think what it comes down to, and this is what I thought going into the series, like you said, it's a shame that Phoenix has to even play the Lakers, that they shouldn't be playing the Lakers in the first round, but it is what it is. Gotta play who's on the schedule. Um, the Lakers' experience of winning the chip last year and LeBron's experience, period, is what's going to be the difference here.
Mm.
Because the experience that the Suns have is Chris Paul. He's the only one that really has extensive playoff experience. And like we already talked about with Chris Paul, he's never made a conference final.
Nope. And he stays
So,
hurt, man. It's a shame
uh,
he stays hurt.
yeah, and with him being injured now, I just don't think that in those moments, like you said, how LeBron closed it out, they don't have that guy. Even though Devin Book has shown that he's willing to step up and take those shots. They just don't have the experience. They don't have the guy that's been there and done that.
Yeah, because we know the playoffs is about moments. How you seize that moment, and Book just doesn't. Not there yet. You know what I mean? This
Yeah.
experience is now coming. He's going to continue to be in the playoffs going here on out, and that he's going to become the guy that's able to do that. But right now, having to go against LeBron and everything, he's already proven. AD is someone who's still trying to build his legacy. Then you have guys who just fit together. KCP fits LeBron. Like what I'm trying to say is LeBron gets the best out of KCP. You know what I mean? Like we saw him yelling at him the other day to shoot. So you know damn well today KCP is going to come out. He's going to be shooting. You know what I mean? Any open shot, he's taking that shot, and he's a pretty good shooter, not a great one, but he's consistent enough to hurt the other team. Then you have Dennis Schroeder, who gives them enough. Kuzma, who's a solid role player. Like it just seems like they are in a position now where I think Phoenix is. They needed to win both games to really
to really
be
put
able
pressure
to.
on the Lakers.
Yeah, it being 1-1 now is tough. Phoenix, if they can win tonight, I think they'll put some more pressure on the Lakers. But that's going to be tough. It's all going to depend on how healthy and what Chris Paul can do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, is it enough? If is it going to be enough time for Chris Paul to get some type of? Because to me, the shoulder injury is really stopping him from being as effective as he could be.
Oh
He's
yeah,
not
you
able
saw it
to
in game 2.
dribble.
He was not himself at
He,
all.
he can't handle the way he can handle. He's not passing. So, but is there enough time in this series? Can by tonight, has he had enough time to get some treatment and get some mobility in that? Is it just a pain issue at this point, or is he? Because to me, I think the problem is not pain. I think it's mobility. I don't think he can move that shoulder like he wants to. But if he can get that back, maybe they can still salvage this. It's 1-1.
I think, like you said, it's not. We know Chris
It's a
Paul's
best
a
of
tough.
5 at this point.
Chris
It's
Paul's a
not
tough ass player. If it was a pain thing, he would fight through that. It's the mobility, it's the functionality of his shoulder that you can't fight through that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why that part sucks because it's like, dang man, this has a chance to be an epic series, and this is really a series that you don't expect to see until later in the playoffs, and you're getting it round 1, and it sucks for Phoenix, but unfortunately, I have them going out in round 1, and it's a shame because they had a season worthy of a top team that should not have had to run in a team like the Lakers in round 1. Let's talk about another team I'm impressed by, and I think we kind of said it earlier, Utah. Memphis is the team I'm saying I'm impressed by, but I don't think they're not going to have enough to beat Utah. But Memphis is coming. John Morant is making a statement. Even in the loss the other day, he balled out. I really like Jaren Jackson. He was hurt a lot this year, so he's also just getting back and getting into form. He's starting to shoot the 3 some now too. Dylan Brooks is real. You know what I mean? Kyle Anderson fits that style. It fits their team. Memphis is a team that I really enjoy watching. I would have loved for Steph to get in the playoffs, but as I watch Memphis, I'm like, dang, they're fulfilling exactly what I would want to see from Golden State. So I'm over it at this point. They're not going to beat Utah, but going in the next season, Memphis is a team I'm going to be watching to take another leap. Kind of how Phoenix did this year.
Yeah, no. Going into that game 2, Memphis, including the play-in, has been my most entertaining team to watch. Ja, like you said, Jaren Jackson coming back and Dylan Brooks, I've really been impressed by him defensively and offensively in game 1, especially of the Utah series. He balled.
And the young boy is good too, Bane.
Yeah, Bane, he's knocking him down. But that was up until last night when Spider stepped back on the court. That have a new most entertaining team. I'm sorry, he brings that Utah team to a different level. It's not just about his play; it's also about his attitude. He's one of those.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that leads. He's a vocal leader, but he's also a leader of, listen, I'm here. Let's do it. Like once he's on the court, it is what it is. Like as soon as he got on the court, it was like, yo, nah, Dylan Brooks, it's not your night tonight. I saw what you
Uh,
did in game one. It's not happening tonight. I'm here.
hmm hmm
And you know,
And
as
he
a
did
as a
that
dude,
on a minutes restriction.
exactly. Just like his just presence in the building, being available to play, changed that team. And they made it into a team that is like they're a buzzsaw at this point. Like to me, I don't know that. I mean, as good as Memphis is, they might not get another game.
Yeah, yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked at that at all. Like Memphis is playing good basketball and they're fighting, but Utah is real. Like anybody, like I said earlier, anybody that doesn't think with Utah could win a championship with Donovan Mitchell does not know the game or they're not watching. Utah is the real deal.
Yeah.
They got all the pieces. And Mitchell, like H just said, is that extra piece. He's the vocal leader. He's the on-court leader. He's a baller that makes them complete. And if anybody keeps, don't sleep on Utah no more. Forget what LeBron said. Nobody plays with Utah. We don't. We don't go turn the game on and play with Utah. You're right. But this Utah team is going to change that
Hey,
narrative.
you know who plays with Utah? You know, I
Who?
didn't play with them then, but if you want smoking 2K, I
That's
will
what I
pick
said. The
Utah on your
narrative
ass.
is changing. This Utah team, that's out the window. This is a Utah team that people are playing with. Mitchell, Clarkson, Connolly, Gobert, like Bogdanovich. They're real. And anybody in the West who wants to get to the finals, that's who you got to get through.
Yeah, I don't. I just like to me far and away, and it was a small sample size. Call it a small sample size. It was one game last night with Mitchell being back, but that team looks like the best team in the West again
Oh, it's not one game.
instantly.
It's
Yeah, I
one
know.
game
Yeah,
proving what you saw all year.
yeah, exactly. I'm just
All
saying,
year they
going off
look
of that
like that.
game
Mm-hmm.
in the playoffs, they're the best team that I've seen in the playoffs so far. Just
Now the
with
most
just that one game, like, cause I'm like, wow, like it's such a difference, and they've been good. That's the
yeah,
thing; they have not been bad. They were even good in the loss to Memphis in game one,
it's game one. That
but
was a good game.
it's a different team with him on the floor.
Absolutely. And let's one more. And what has been the most exciting, the best series, in my opinion, Denver and Portland. That's been
Yeah,
the best series to watch so far. Dame is doing his thing. Jokic doing his thing. The talent that Denver has.
Michael
I
Porter
would,
Jr.
I
Man,
yeah, I wish Murray was playing because if Murray was playing, I kind of would be
this is
looking for a
different. Yeah,
Denver and Utah conference finals. That's what I would be projecting. Even I would even pick Denver over the Lakers if Murray was playing because they have everything. Also, Michael Porter Jr. has taken the real step. He's proven people to be absolutely retarded for allowing him to be the 14th or 15th pick in his draft. He was supposed to be a top 5 pick and he's showing you exactly why. He can score at every level. He's a serviceable defensive player, and he's a great ball handler for his size. He fits everything that they want to do. When Jokic is when they run things through Jokic, they're allowed. Porter Jr. knows how to get open off the ball, and it's just He's an exciting player that fits that team, and that's very good. But Portland has been able to respond at every wave too. Like Denver in game two won. It was a kind of a convincing win. But throughout that game, you still looked at Portland like, man, that team's good. Dame was hitting shots
yeah,
left and right.
yeah. No, Portland.
Norman Powell is a solid player. CJ's there. Like that's the most exciting series to me. And I think it's gonna probably go 6 or 7. I don't know who comes out of it.
Yeah, my thing about the Portland is that they've worked themselves to a position, and this is a more of a culture thing, culture that really Dame has a lot to do with because they've been able to rely on having Dame year in and season out. He's going to be there. He said he's not leaving, and he's there. They've been able to tinker a lot and work with things around the edges. And I think one of the things that they tinker with that worked a lot was well, two things. One was Norman Powell because he's given them a different element that they have not had in the past, and that's that two-way player that can really
Mm-hmm.
defend. So
Mm-hmm.
so Norman Powell was big, and he's given them ability to go out and do that because Norman Powell is on the last year of his deal. But if you know you're gonna have Dame and CJ, then you can go do something like that. You can go
Mm-hmm.
get a Norman Powell. You can give up assets to get a Norman Powell because you know your core is still there.
Yeah, they gave up a good player. They gave up a good
Yeah,
player for him, Gary Trent.
and it, and then your next thing is Melo. To me,
Mm-hmm.
Melo has been one of the more pleasant surprises of the league as far as there was talk of Melo being done and him getting on with Portland and then coming in game one and giving them 18 off the bench like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that like I think those two things like they've working themselves into a position where not only they're not top heavy as they may have been in the past. It's not Dame and CJ doing everything. They have a team, they have some depth, and they also play defense. Those are the things that have been knocked on Portland in the past. So
And
that
Nurkic really helps too.
yeah, having him healthy because he hasn't been healthy
Healthy.
the
Yep.
last couple playoff
Mm-hmm.
runs.
I wish they
Um,
Collins is I know they wish they can get Collins healthy. The other
yeah, the other center.
Zach Zach Collins, yeah.
Uh,
Unfortunately, he just can't stay healthy either.
yeah,
But Portland, the difference from them in game 1 and 2 was Melo. If they got the Melo from game 1 and game 2,
yeah,
they might have been
hmm
able to win that game. Like that's
yeah,
missing those extra because I think it was like a 14-point difference from game 1 to game 2. That's a big difference. You know what I mean? They didn't have that
hmm
uh
yeah,
those points to come off the bench to help them because Denver's bench killed them. You know what I mean? Like it was a big
hmm
difference from what Denver got off the bench from Aaron
Aaron
Gordon,
Gordon.
Monte
Aaron
Morris.
Gordon was big. Aaron Gordon was
Yeah,
big for Denver in
yep.
game two.
Monte Morris gave him some good minutes. They got two bigs with what's my man's name? With Jokic and then what's his name comes off the bench. I'm blanking right now. But the point is that Denver's bench was that was the difference in game 2 between Jokic and their bench, and then Portland not getting the same bench production that they got in
Production that they
game
were
1.
getting before. Hmm
Mm-hmm. And that's probably going to be what's the difference throughout this whole series is what supplemental parts are able to be the difference maker. You know what you're getting from Dame. We know what we're getting from CJ. We know what we're getting from Jokic. We know what we're getting from Michael Porter Jr. What does Aaron Gordon do? What does Norman Powell do? What does Melo do? You know, what is Monte Morris and the point guard that they got for Denver is his last name starts with this. Yeah,
Capizaro or Capizaro.
yeah.
He's been really
He's been
solid.
solid, solid.
He's one
Yeah,
of those
yeah.
pleasant surprises too. He's been really
Mm-hmm.
solid for them, especially losing
That
Murray.
Yep.
He's
That's what I
been
think is
solid.
going to be the difference for that series, the ancillary parts and which sides
Hmm
parts are able to give more. And that's what I think is going to decide that because those teams are very evenly matched. And that's why it's been a good series to watch. And honestly, that's the game I'm ready for tonight. I know Lakers and Phoenix going to get more of the eyes from the masses, but Denver
Yeah.
and Portland is where I'm going to lock into because man, listen, that one's been good, and I really like Michael Porter Jr. Everybody knows
Yeah, I
I
found
think
out
he's big
like
time.
I didn't just find out, of course, but I just was reminded today that the Knicks took Kevin Knox at 8 and Michael Porter Jr. went 14.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what they took him at 9 because the Sixers took Mikal Bridges at 10, and then we traded him. Yeah, they took Kevin Knox at 9. The Sixers took Mikal Bridges at 10. Unfortunately, they traded him to Phoenix, and then Porter
I'm
Jr.
not
was
going to talk about that,
14.
but I'm
Yeah,
just saying
yeah, we're leaving that alone. But then
now.
the Porter Jr. was 14. There's plenty of teams that are kicking themselves because they went into the draft process viewing Michael Porter Jr. one way, like, oh, this is a potential franchise player. They allowed that back injury in college to get into their head so much that they allowed him to slip into a position and get on a team that didn't need him.
It was able to let him chill, let him get take a whole year to get your back right,
Yep.
and
Like
that's
the
all you need to
Knicks.
do. But that's all a lot of these players need is
Yep.
time, whether it be time to get healthy or time to develop
To
whatever
develop.
goals they have in the game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these players just need time when they come in the league.
Yep. Everybody wants everything today so quick, and it's just not realistic. Like,
Yeah,
you gotta allow guys to grow, and that's what Denver did. They set him all his first year, and it was cool. When you're ready, we'll rock. He showed that he was ready last year, and this year, boom, you're seeing the guy that he was expected to be. I just don't get like, all right, the Sixers. After the Sixers did it with Embiid, I feel like that should have been the clearance for everything. Okay, you saw that it could work.
yeah,
If a kid shows you exceptional talent, don't let an injury shade you away from picking him. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
Especially if it's not something chronic. If it's just a one-time
yes,
injury,
yes. I
then
mean, I know that they say, oh, no, it's because it was his back. All right, I hear you. Yes, the back could be an issue. But he's 19 years old.
yeah,
Like, let's not act like
he hurt his back one time. It's not like he's had back issues. Those are two different things. Hurting your back and having back issues is two different. Now, hurting your back can lead to back issues,
And
but
I think that's what
if
some teams were afraid of. But you got to take that risk. I'm sorry. There was only a few people. All right, I'm going to be honest. At that time, DeAndre Ayton, I would have still taken over Porter Jr. because he showed a lot at Arizona and he was healthy. Cool. I probably would have took Trey over him. And I was, no, yeah. Ayton and Trey is the only people I would have taken over Porter Jr. at that time. I did not know enough about Luka to put him on
oh
that
no, but
level. Yeah.
I always had way more confidence in Luca than others. I think
But
one like to me, it's just the fact that he was playing playing professional
mm,
ball is that's a stamp to me. Like
mm,
to succeed in any professional level is to me that's grown ass men that are making a check to play basketball. That's different in college. It's a different
mm,
level in
mm,
any sense. But
yeah.
anyway,
But I
that's
wouldn't.
off topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I would not have picked him. I'm just saying at the time, I would not have picked him over Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah,
Ayton and
no.
Trey Young were the only people at that time I would have taken over him. For Marvin Bagley to go over him, for matter of fact, I'm not even gonna
Kevin
say
Knox
everybody.
just stands out to me because,
Yeah,
like,
because he doesn't even play.
switch.
He doesn't even
Yeah,
touch
that's
the
what I'm
court.
saying. You swap those
Right,
two guys right now. Look
big
at where the
difference.
Knicks would be
Knicks would
because
be.
they would
Look where the
still
Knicks would
they
be.
would have still got RJ because they would have sat him for a year.
Yeah, yeah, because he would have not played. Exactly. It's kind of like the same situation with. It's exactly the Sixers. We still got Ben Simmons because Joel didn't play. You feel
Yeah,
me? It's not changing your rebuild. So there's a lot of teams kicking themselves while they watch that kid grow for Denver. I'm not kicking myself as much as a Sixers fan because we already had our core, and that was a
yeah,
luxury
yeah,
pick.
yeah,
That wasn't
yeah,
even our
yeah.
pick. That was the Lakers pick that we had got. So not kicking ourselves as much. I kind of just wish we kept Mikal Bridges, but like we said, we're
Yeah,
not gonna talk about that. Yeah.
I hate what y'all did with Mikal Bridges.
Yo,
Just because it was
listen,
so senseless. It was so
the
senseless.
explanation is the silliest part. Like it comes out after Brett Brown was fired, of course, because that's when you're gonna get the juice. They drafted Bridges, and when they drafted Bridges, that was who they expected to pick. That was the guy. They were done. One of the, not the main owner, but one of the supplemental owners goes and say, "Hey, this is our last time really picking in the lottery." They had the offer from Phoenix. Phoenix loved Bridges. They were trying to get him. They were trying to trade up with multiple teams to get him. They had worked out Zaire Smith a few times right there. As just looking at him, that's what you do. They traded for Zaire Smith because they said, "Hey, we should try to get a high upside player because this is our last chance in the lottery. We know Mikel's going to be good. Mikel fits, but Zaire may have the higher upside." If that's what you're trying to do, Michael Porter Jr. is the biggest upside.
Yeah, I
What?
bet you took the words out of my mouth. I was about to
That
say then
makes
why
no
did they take
sense.
Michael
If
Porter
you're
Jr.?
drafting for upside, then there's one person to pick. The guy that's a top 3 pick if he's healthy. Not a guy that you're hoping turns into Kawhi, because that's all they kept talking about. I never saw it because if you watch Zaire Smith in college, he was a freaking power forward at 6'4". But whatever. If that if Porter Jr. or Bridges was on the Sixers right now, but we're gonna get that long. It's not the topic of the day.
Yeah,
Today is playoff basketball. Looks Chris Paul just made a nice jumper, so might
yeah.
be
Chris
seeing
Paul
some
looking
good
better. He's looking
look.
better.
And
I've
he
been
doesn't
looking
have
at
the
it.
thing on his arm today either.
Yeah, he's looking better.
Um,
If I'm gonna go on record as saying if Chris Paul's healthy, Phoenix is winning the series. If Chris
yeah,
Paul's
he's the
healthy,
difference.
Phoenix is gonna
I'm
win the series if he's healthy. I don't know if that he is yet, but he's looking good.
uh, I'm
And
not gonna.
they also need game one Aiton. Aiton gotta find that juice and get that juice back. Because
He had a
game
good
one
game
Aiton,
too, but I say yeah, he dominated game 1, but he had a good game too. Well, yeah, Aiton is a good player, man. He's a good young
yeah,
player. Aiton is what we were just talking about. People have to chill with wanting
yeah,
guys to be great from day uno. Everyone's not Luka, okay?
yeah.
Everyone's not John Morant. Everybody's not LeBron, okay? Some guys have to grow into being big time players, and Aiton is showing you that. His first year
Like you
was
gotta add,
yeah,
yeah,
his second year, he showed you more. His third year, look. He's the real. He can ball. Let the guys grow. Like I'm so sick of this with the
Well,
way.
yeah, and it even goes back to what you said earlier. Like, look at LeBron. Look at LeBron's jump
Yes,
shot.
yes,
Look at LeBron's
LeBron.
jump shot. You have to add to your game. You got to work. You don't just hit the court and become like Zion is not normal. What
Yes,
Zion does
it's a
is not normal.
rarity. It's a
You got to
rarity
let
with
these guys
Zion.
develop.
Yes, it's a rarity what Ja did as a rookie. It's a rarity for those things to happen. Most of the time, guys develop into these players. Kawhi Leonard wasn't Kawhi Leonard as a rookie, right?
Exactly. He can
Like,
shoot.
like
Shoot a
I'm gonna
lick.
bring up a big time one. Chauncey Billups. The Celtics
Yeah,
drafted
we
him,
drafted
right? And they
something.
gave him up way too early. They probably were
Yeah.
kicking themselves because by year 5 he was a all-star, and they're probably like, "Damn, why didn't we hold on? He was a top 5 pick. Why did we give up on him so fast?" And that has to stop, man. You got to let guys develop, and I think that's what we should end it on this one. Stop. Stop expecting all these guys to be studs from Uno. If Jalen Suggs gets drafted this year, and if he only averages 11 points and 5 assists his rookie year, that does not mean he's a bust.
I think any of these guys coming out this year could struggle. Any of them, maybe not. Cade is probably the most, and that's why I think he might be the top pick because he's probably the most NBA ready, or I think he hit the ground running. But I think any of these other top guys could struggle. But I think
And it's
that,
okay.
all of them have potential to be really good players.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Look at RJ
at the
Barrett. Look
same
at the
time,
Knicks, period. Look at the Knicks, period. People was
yeah,
talking big trash about RJ Barrett last year. Now he's a 17-point guy. Julius Randle got exiled from a team already. Now he's an all NBA player. Like, you gotta chill with this. Oh, he didn't give it to me in 2 years. Blah blah blah. Yo, it was a point where people were saying Kyle Kuzma was better than Brandon Ingram.
and it's gonna be a similar thing with Lonzo. With Lonzo starting
Yes,
to get a jump shot,
yes.
the Lakers are gonna regret letting go of Lonzo. If that
I don't
player
know.
hasn't,
Nah, they won't
I
regret it because
mean,
they got AD and they won a
yeah,
championship.
yeah,
Their
but
fans will regret how they talked about him.
exactly. Okay, we'll say that.
Yeah,
Because if that player has a good jump shot, that's a really good player.
that's a very good player. Lonzo's good, man. I would love to get
Yeah,
Lonzo on the Sixers. Especially because he could shoot now. Like his whole shot. Like remember he used to come and do this. He
yeah,
don't
it
do
was
that no
crazy.
more.
Yeah, like
You gotta let guys develop, man. That's where we go leave it.
yeah, we'll leave it at that. Good show, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in, listening to us, man. I appreciate everybody that checks us out. Check us out next time and join in on the conversation, man. Check us out on social media, Twitter, Instagram at About That Sports Life, ABTDATSPRTSLIFE, YouTube and Facebook About That Sports Life. On YouTube, make sure that you like the videos, subscribe. That helps us out a lot. We appreciate it. Hit the bell so you know when we drop content too, so you don't got to go looking for it. Also, email info at aboutthatsportslife.com. Any questions, comments, concerns, topics? How do you feel about the playoffs? Let us know.
Mm.
Um, and then also, as always, you can catch replays of the show and other content on our site, www.aboutthatsportslife.com. All right, man. Anything else you want to add? Anything we missed?
Nah, man. I think we stopped everything. Be back next week. Talk about these second round series as they should be pretty much settled at that point. And
Yeah,
that's it, man.
yeah. We got a couple good ones
Peace, peace.
tonight, man. This one looking good, and then we got one more after this. All right, man. I'm out, man. Later.
All right, peace.